Okay, good evening, everybody. Welcome to this evening session. We'll start in 2 minutes. We'll start in 2 minutes. That's 6:05 by my time. We already have our speaker in the house, so in 2 minutes time, we will go live. Okay, so it's 2 minutes and we will start now. So welcome once again to this evening session. We've had 4 amazing sessions. This is Pick Yourself Up Conference 2023. So my name is Uche. I'll start with an introduction. Uche Okuta is my name, and it's my birthday today. And we decided to have these curated conversations where we give back value to people because a lot of people are going through a lot of issues. So we've had 3 sessions. We've spoken to customer experience as a business team. We spoke to Pick Yourself Up. That was aimed at the person. Then the last session was with the coding mom that talked about her story going from being jobless and broke to where she now has a community of over 400 women who are learning how to code for free. And by the time they finish the learning, they are job ready. And we're ending the session with a mental resilience session. I said in the last class that I was in a meeting once and a deputy managing director of one of the top financial institutions in the country, he was asked what was one of the most critical requirements to function at that level. And he said, mental toughness. That's what he said. That's one of the requirements to function at that level and be productive. So it is no coincidence that we're having this session this evening. No coincidence. And I'm really excited about it, and I am sure there will be tremendous value for you. I am sure. So our speaker this evening is Tunde Ekpekrede, MBA. He's an authority in the field of mental toughness and resilience, and has served as a speaker, a facilitator, and executive coach in this field for over a decade. He's worked in executive level positions in the Republic of Ireland, Northern Ireland, and also, England and Nigeria. So he's an alumni of the Smurfit Graduate School of Business, University College Dublin, where he obtained his MBA in 2004. And he also took a program at the Lagos Business School. He graduated from University of Benin with honors in civil engineering in 1989. And he obtained a certificate in project management from Harvard University, Boston in 2012. He's a consummate reader, I can attest to that fact, and writer. And his writings are available on several print and digital medium, including the medium print. His interest is to support individuals and organizations in the attainment of their potentials. And I would just like us to welcome Mr. Tunde Ekpekurede for this session. You are welcome, sir. We are glad to have you here.
Okay, thank you so much, Uche. And I'm really glad to be here this evening. And thank you for a great way to celebrate your birthday. I mean, it's strange how our passion drives us. I was reading a post on a Facebook group I belong to recently of coaches, mostly Americans, and one of them said, "I wonder if some of us will survive without knowledge." So those of us whose food is knowledge. So I'm not shocked what you are doing today, because since I knew you from Warri, this is your territory, and this territory has kept us together. So I'll be talking this evening on mental resilience, a topic for which I've written a book, and I'm right now about concluding the part 2 of the book. However you tell it, it is still a story that you made up. Hopefully in the next 2 weeks, it should go to print. So like Uche has said, the deputy MD of a bank said that the most essential requirement for the job he's doing is mental toughness. I don't think that can be overemphasized. There's an article in Harvard Business Review on mental resilience, and execs and non-managers, where the survey was done, the most important skill, and all of them voted for, about 63%. They listed about 5 different things that are challenging to navigate just to get to the top of one's career and what you need. So, but the one that 63% voted for as the most needed is mental resilience. That mental resilience will pick you up from wherever level of the ladder you are and stabilize you. So I'll just be talking briefly on the subject and allow a few questions. I'll kind of give an introductory talk for the next 30 minutes and allow people to ask questions. And sometimes maybe they want to ask questions in areas where it really matters to them, and areas where maybe, for whatever reason, that's not where I'm talking about. Like, why is he not talking about it? Yeah. So the question time will give you the time to bring that up. So what is mental resilience? Mental resilience is derived from, derived from it's an engineering term. Now, it means the ability to bounce back. I'm a civil engineer by training, so the ability to bounce back. When we design structures and steel, we make sure that we don't use stresses that take the steel into the collapse zone. Because if it goes into the collapse zone, it is not recoverable. Then the structure has to collapse. So we say within the elastic limits. Now, so all of your designs must be done within the elastic limit. Now, if you are still working today, if you are normal, you are functioning within the elastic limit. Now, when you say the person is now in Yaba right or Yaba left, as they call it in Lagos, or Uselu in Benin, it means the brain has collapsed. It has completely, the load exceeded what the person can bear and collapsed. So, but an interesting thing I will be finding out today is that we are the ones who decide how big the elastic limit should be, how wide the elastic limit should be. Civil engineering materials, depending on what you are designing, they fail at different things. The most common is steel. 500 Newton is the maximum for the elastic limit. Now, there are other materials, aluminum and others, that could go above that, but common building materials. Now, what that says, first of all, is that materials have different points of failure. The same thing with human beings. We have different points at which we fail. We have different points at which we fail, at which we say we will not do again. I remember those days when I was in secondary school, They want to try me out whether I will work for my inter-house sport. I will just be on the 100-meter lane and you will just see me veer out of the field. I have collapsed. I can no longer go on. So a lot of time in life, we are like that. We are running this game of life. I don't fit again. We are in unemployment and our brains are continually interacting with other brains. Then what we call pressure, what we call difficult people, what we call simple people, man, make I resign. Now, there is, I forgot the name of the philosopher. He said, hell is other people. Hell is other people. So we deal with a lot of things that what we call traditionally stress. But the amount of what we can carry, like my brother Uche was referring, a CEO picks a lot of stress. And what do we mean by a lot of stress? A lot of inputs that go in, a lot of inputs. Now, pressure is equal to force over area. Now, if for a given force, we want to reduce the pressure, the only thing we can tinker with is the area. So what usually happens is that we can increase the area with which we bear the loads of life. We can increase it. That is what, for me, that's good news for you and me to this evening. We can increase the area with which we bear the loads of life. If the area with which we bear the loads of life is very small, then we fail easily because it's going to give astronomical values. But if we increase the area, you see, if you have done any study on the spirit, soul, and body, the mind is a restriction. It's like the bottle, the neck of a bottle. So it constrains the spirit. It constrains, now your spirit can take in infinite pressure. Now, but your mind cannot take infinite pressure. So the first thing is, how do I transfer the load coming? If you take a typical bottle, a typical Ragolis bottle or Everwater, how do I open this thing so that the orifice is widened and is the same size as the bottle? How do we expand our mind such that the area it provides to bear load is just as big as our spirit? If we can do that, man, we can bear an infinite amount of loads. Now, humanly speaking, it's nearly impossible, unfortunately. Now, Jesus, the greatest who has lived, got to a place and he said, Father, if it is possible, let this cup pass over me. Sometimes we get there, may, if it were possible. Now, but see the amount of what he has to bear. See, look, in Hebrews 12 chapter, it's Hebrews chapter 12, I think verse 3, he said you should think about Jesus and all the things that came upon him, how he continued to be resilient. He now said, lest ye faint in your minds. Now, what is he saying? The place where we faint is the mind. The place where we faint is the mind. All failure occurs in the mind. The giving up. The time I ran out of the 100-meter track and ran out of the field, it's my mind that told me to run out. Sometimes my body can still continue, but my mind said I should run out. My mind said I cannot do it again. Now, there are sometimes I've resigned. If you've read my book, Realizing Mental Resilience, I tell stories of some of my resignations where it just looked like I cannot take it again. Now, but the more I develop myself, the more I'm able to go back into the boxing ring. The more I'm able to say, no, this thing that defeated me yesterday, it won't defeat me today. Now, that is growth. When you can get to the place where what defeated you yesterday won't defeat you today, you are growing. Now, if you are defeated today, don't give up. Go back again to the practice ring and exercise yourself, then come back again. That's what champions do. That is what that's how you will see world boxing title champion. Oh, they say, oh, Ray Lennox has lost. Then a year later, he said he wants to challenge again. Now he has been practicing. So we need to practice some of these things. Now, it so happens that the way, when we say we faint in the mind, the way the mind faints is through a mechanism called meaning making. We are always making meanings. We are always making meanings. Our beliefs alone can make us fail. People don't know why. People sometimes they just think, oh, everything is just luck. Yeah, there is a realm of luck which I don't want to deal with tonight. But when you come to experience of life, there is no luck. How you really experience life. Now, one of my mentors, Jim Rohn, said, if anything will decide how much of what you will get in life, if he will refer you to anything that is a pointer, he said it's your beliefs. Your beliefs alone is a selector, just simpler. Your belief takes place here in your mind. So Almighty God comes to Peter and brings all manner of four-footed beasts. And he says, Peter, kill, eat. This is God, this is not Tunde or Uche. He said, I've never eaten anything unclean. God says eat, kill, eat. You said, I have never eaten anything unclean. Now, somewhere in the book of Romans, Paul said, if the thing offered to idols, they don't have any meaning. He said, one man says, it has meaning, I won't eat it. He said, for conscience sake, not because there is anything. He says, there is nothing inherent in meat offered to idols. He said, but to whom that estimate it. Now, what is that saying? It is if the person says in his beliefs or in his mind or his thinking, the meat offered to idols can do me something. He said, then that is what he believes. So that will restrain him. He said, otherwise, there is nothing. So Shakespeare in Hamlet said what? Shakespeare said, there is neither, and there's nothing good or bad in itself, except that thinking makes it so. So thinking will decide whether you should enjoy your day or not. Thinking will decide whether you should enjoy it. Thinking will decide whether you should enjoy your job or not. So your thinking is a natural selector. The meanings you make, they are all just default. So, and that is a filter. Now, so we don't see life the way it is, first of all. What we are thinking is life is it's our projection of our beliefs. When we say there is no opportunity in this industry, just a projection of who we are. Sam Adeyemi says success is who you are. Success, he wrote a book called Success is Who You Are. Success is who you are. Success is your thinking. Success is your belief. Resilience is who you are. Resilience is who you are. So under any condition, you can alter the load you want to carry by altering your beliefs, by altering the meanings you make. So I was with a bank CEO recently. I've been trying to get an appointment with him. I wrote an article about 2 weeks ago about the experience. And finally, I got the experience. I got to his office and he wasn't looking like his normal self. So he went on to talk about a GM that he has helped to get to that position. And the GM spoke really roughly about him, kind of criticized him. And that was before I arrived at the office. The meeting had finished about an hour before I came. But that wasn't the reason why we fixed the meeting. So I was struggling to bring him to the reason, but his mood wasn't coming to the reason. So in my mind, I just said, should I tell him the way I feel? He said, he's the CEO. Remember, he's going to show you some favor. And he's always shown me some favors anyway. So I said, after a while, when I saw that I won't go, I said, well, I hope you know that the pain you are experiencing, that you are the one who caused it. Now he's known, he's read my book, Realizing Mental Resilience. He said, how? I said, you didn't think that the GM should talk to you like that. He was looking at me. When he wouldn't reply, I said, now, when people violate us, we are the one who set what they violated. If the thing they violated was not there, there was nothing to violate. I think it's in our mind we create what we call life. It's in our mind we create expectations. Now, when Paul was writing to the Romans, he said, he said sin was in the world, but until the law, there was no sin. So sin was in the people were doing what they were doing, but it was not accounted that they did anything wrong. When the law came, the law now said, if you do this thing, something that you have already been doing, from now on, if you do it, it is counted as sin. I said, if you didn't have any expectation, then he said what he said, then you went where you went to. So I didn't think he got it, but he managed to bring the conversation to why I came to see him. Now, after a while, I left. As I was going, I said, you couldn't have talked to him. You should have talked to a big man like this. You didn't have talked. So I said, no, what I said is what I should have said. I needed to preach to myself. No, tell people what you did yesterday is what you should have done. We'll get to that later. Stop saying I should. No, you have already done it anyway. Why are you making a law when you have already done it? No, what I did yesterday is what I should have done. But the way what I said to him is what I should have said. So I went. So 3 weeks later, we met again in a ceremony at Muson Center. And he was now very, well, he's gone past it. But while I was with him and I was about leaving, he said, you won't believe the impact of what you said that day. I was shocked. First of all, I didn't know what he was referring to. Because, I mean, there was a meeting that lasted over an hour. What did I say? He said, when you said, I was the one who caused the pain, that what I should have done, I said to him that day, if he said, he just said that's how he's supposed to talk to me. Because stress means, when you say material is under stress, the way it should be is not, you are trying to break it. There is a disjoint from your mental stress. There is a disjoint from what you expected from what you are getting. But the way to eliminate that disjoint, especially as all of them will usually most of them, with your past or with what is happening there, how else should he have spoken? How else? I said, that's how he's supposed to have spoken. I said to this CEO before we change the topic, he spoke the way he's supposed to speak, but that was not the way you expected. He said, no. I said, that's where the problem is. I said, there are people that if they say this thing, you will not be angry. He looked at me. He said, he will not. I said, the central bank governor talk to you like that, will you be? I said, it's the same thing. Mind you, the same. Both this GM and the CBN governor, they said the same thing to you. It produced a different response. So which means, this is simple mathematics. Then the experience you are having hasn't been caused by them. It has not been caused by them. It has been caused by the way you designed your system. It has been caused by your own design of how you should be talked to. So we are always going out in our best self, with the images, with the beliefs. So we have constrained our spirits. Until the law, there was no sin, but we brought the law. So there are people that I feel for in this life. The systems they have built for themselves is so narrow, even for God to pass. Even for God to pass. Now it's so narrow that for every Tom, Dick, and Harry, they are offended. Now we make all these meanings and we multiply them, but we blame the external environment. We think that is the source of our problems, but that's not the source of our problems. So, about the turn of the century, a European company was thinking of setting up a shoe factory in Africa. So they sent 2 marketing executives. The first one sent back a telegram to the boss, there is no hope of us selling any shoe in Africa. The people walk on their foot. Nobody wears shoes. The second marketer sent another telegram an hour later. Boss, this is the place where we will make a kill. Nobody wears shoes in Africa. It's a virgin land. Are the two people talking about the same market? The answer is yes. But it is not the physical space there. It is not about the human beings. It is about who they are. Success is who you are. It is about who they are. We never really see anything out there, I'll tell you. Sometimes it's a strange spiritual psychology. We are always projecting who we are into the environment. We say there are no opportunities in Nigeria, but we are seeing expatriates. I was with a friend some weeks ago. See the amount of Lebanese that are coming into Lagos to set up restaurants. So how come the Nigerians who are here are not seeing the opportunity? But it's the same land, we are driving to the same streets, but who we are is telling us what the environment is. Because the environment there has no voice. It's lifeless. We are seeing buildings, we are seeing people pass. That's just the environment. But who we are will come out. One person says there is no opportunity. Another person says, this is where the deal is. This is where the deal is. So I always tell people, nothing will lift you more than self-development will lift you. This is where, because your mind is a filter, continuously filtering. Now, if it's not well groomed to filter what you want in your life, I see people who experience pain because of the narrowness of what they permit to go into their system. What they project a lot of junk out there, not knowing that what is out there has no life. The buildings have no life. The sea has no life. The stock market has no life. When my mom died, I was looking at, I opened the casket just for one thing. So this woman I'm looking at now has no enemies, no friends, no one. Where were the enemies before? In the mind. Where were the friends? In the mind. Where was the wealth? In the mind. I am poor in the mind. I am rich in the mind. The mind is not there again. So our mind is continually giving us the experience we have of life. So Moses sends out 12 spies. 10 come back and say, Moses, if you see what we saw there, the land eats its inhabitants. How about they saw people? But they said that the land eats, now people are living in the land, but they said that the land eats the people. They now even said that in the eyes of the people, we were like grasshoppers. Now, what is spilling out all those ones? Who they are? Their minds are spilling out. Your mind will spill out difficulty or ease in your life. Your mind will spill it out. Your mind will continually be spilling them out. So said Moses, you told us that God is the one who said, if God said it, I can tell you, look, let's go once and take the land. The people are already afraid of us. 2 saw people who were afraid of them. 10 saw people who saw them as grasshoppers. It was the same thing, though. There is no light, the projection of yourself. When you go to work in a company, you are constantly projecting yourself. As a Nigerian, you are constantly projecting yourself. I've worked in a number of countries. Some level people, you have left Nigeria, now you are in England. You are still saying there is no opportunity in England. So why did you leave Nigeria anyway? The late Archbishop Idahosa will say something. A lizard in Nigeria is a lizard in London. London won't make him a lizard. He's going to still remain a lizard. Now, so constantly, we are projecting ourselves. Now, the area we make available, now in mathematics, where the force is constant, it's only the area you can always adjust. Now, when you begin to expand your thinking, now imagine those in the book of Romans who ran away from meat, who said it was not good to go to church on Monday. Paul said there is nothing in all these things you are talking about. One day is good for the Sabbath. It is the day you choose for the Sabbath, my friends. This one is this one is that. Now, the labels you give yourself will even curtail you. I am a Nigerian. I am an Igbo. I am this. You know what God said when Moses asked him, who are you, so that I will know what to tell Israel? He said, I am. When that is your highest self. I am. I'm not Urobo, I'm not Igbo, I'm not Hausa. I am. So sometimes if you find out, if you have stayed with a label and it's bringing a restriction, you can alter it. See, look, in the book of Acts, Paul ran into so many problems. So in one place, he looks at the crowd. Now he knows that originally he's I am. That's who he is. He's not Jew, he's not Hebrew, he's not Pharisee, he's not anyone. But when he looked at the crowd and he saw that some said they were this, some said they were this, he told the king, I want to speak, men and brethren, I am a Roman. And because I believe in this, that is why I'm being persecuted. The Romans started fighting the other side. They let him go. He knew where he was originally. He got to another place. When he looked at them, he saw that there was the majority were Pharisees. He said he wants to speak. Men and brethren, I'm a Pharisee. It is because of my hope for the resurrection. That is why I'm being persecuted. The Pharisees said this man must be let go. If I said I was preaching in a redeemed church and I said, if your label is becoming a constraint, change it. Some of them said during the question and answer, doesn't it mean that you are telling us to be lying? I was so glad it's an enlightened pastor. He took the microphone. He has quoted scriptures and you say he's teaching us how to lie. So now you are I am. But now your mind has put a label. Your mind says this is because I am from a minority. Minorities cannot be president. Change who you are. You are a spirit being. Is what you believe constraining you? Is your belief constraining you? Somebody says you are stupid. Well, that's the way you should have talked to me anyway. It's closed. I don't want to be worrying about it again. How should he have spoken to me? Now all this, does he know who I am? Well, I'm just who I am. That's who I am. He has a right to say what he has to say. When the CEO told me that he was free, wow. I said, thank God I didn't allow my mind to accuse me, that I should not have spoken to him. I said, that is the truth I know. That look, until the law, there was no sin. Until we define how we should be talked to, then nobody could have used our sexuality. Nobody could have said, you offended me. I remember there's a chartered accountant in Lekki phase 1 here. She was reading my book, Realizing Mental Resilience. About 2 a.m., she picked up the phone and called the sister that she has not spoken to for nearly 12 years. The offense that created the gap was designed by her. You will just see the offense naturally melt away. Because you created it. You created it. When if you are listening to this thing, if there is somebody you want to talk to and all you are just saying, I want the person to tell me sorry first, you don't need that. Call the person. If you don't want to talk to the person, you don't want to talk to them, that's a different thing. But let's say even a boss, you've not been going to his office and you have made up all these mental arguments why you don't go. Monday morning, just go and knock on his door. I remember the man Neville Goddard, who is a champion in some of these things I'm talking about. A woman approached Neville Goddard and said, I have a terrible boss. He doesn't see anything good that I do. Constantly criticizing me. Neville Goddard said, I can imagine that before you even go to his office, you have even rehearsed the criticism. She said, how do you know? He said, I know. You have already seen him criticizing you. He said, yes. He said, okay. That man that you are dealing with, you created that man in your mind. He said, how? He said, you created, he said in your mind, what outside of your thoughts, what you have is just people passing by, images. But your thoughts have given people email addresses, personality addresses. So when this one comes, when I was doing my coaching training, the American lady who was taking us, he said, when she was talking on debiasing your mind, see, just imagine that somebody has filled your a coaching enrollment form and you have not seen him. The day you will see the person, as soon as you put on, let's say it's a coaching via Zoom, as soon as you put on the video, the man looked exactly like your stubborn father-in-law. She said, would you be able to debias your mind? So your mind will just run to say, Jesus, these people, all these stubborn people, coaching will not work for them. Nothing. There's nothing you tell them. How did you reach that conclusion? It's not you. It is your unconscious. In my book, what I refer to as artificial intelligence. Now it constantly is producing meanings. Constantly. Now artificial intelligence, you just give it the formula, then it creates its own. It spills out multitudes. It gives birth to children. And psychology says that 95% of the time, you are not in charge of what you are doing. You are not responsible. You just see someone, you are just working on ShopRite. This man looks like an arm robber. There's no definition of the look of an arm robber. It's a mental picture of an arm robber you have seen before that your artificial intelligence is projecting. This woman, a troublesome maker. I wrote an article some months ago. The first impression you have of somebody is not you. It's your artificial intelligence telling you who the person is. Now stay quiet and try and find out who the person is. And make up your mind or make a new meaning of who the person is. So Nebuchadnezzar told this woman, he said, so you are going to create a new boss. You know, I wrote an article last year and it got a lot of engagement because if you don't like your boss, choose a new one. Change your boss. So a lot of people, hundreds of people asked for, read the article. So it's like, you know, our normal system. As human beings, there is always somebody you are, so how do I get a new one? They were shocked in reading the article. The article said, the boss that you don't like is not that boss. The boss that you don't like is the one you created inside you. So there are two bosses. There is the physical one. Then there's the one you created. The one you created with meanings and images. You drew him. I was watching Byron Katie on YouTube, and she was talking along this line. And somebody now said, when Donald Trump was US president, but you know, Byron Katie, this is the worst president we've ever had. Byron looked at him and said, that's the worst president you ever had, not America. Then the guy was stunned. He said, because have you ever seen Donald Trump? He said, no. He said, why is he the worst president? He said, you have to create. For him to be bad or good, you took him from the newspapers. You took him from what you read. Then you had a Donald Trump. He said, then it was in an open coaching event. He said, okay, there are so much in this crowd today. How many of you believe that Donald Trump is the worst president we've ever had? About 40%. There's how many of you believe that Donald Trump is the best president? About 60%. He said, I don't need to go to the lab with you. I've just shown you that everybody has a Donald Trump inside them that is not the Donald Trump in the White House. And that's how we vote. We vote for the Donald Trump inside us. We vote for the person inside us. Because through articles, through beliefs, through who we are, we construct who is good and we construct who is bad. So this one cannot be a good person. Now, if we find out that we are, especially in places where you must go to, all new, I mean, I have to be here. So if the problem is this, let me change the construction of self I have. Now, if I say Donald Trump is good or bad, it doesn't really affect me. But if I need something from the White House, and if my saying Donald Trump is bad, is going to affect my getting it, before I get to the White House, I better construct a new Donald Trump. It's both of them are my mental construction. Let me tell you, it's such a hard thing when you have believed all your life that the things that you believe are reality. Reality, as you think, doesn't exist. So, well, this woman, under the teaching of Neville Goddard, constructed a new boss. And this new boss, anytime she goes to work, the boss hugs her, they laugh. The next time she was to do a PowerPoint presentation, she got to work the next morning. Before she even saw the boss, for the first time in nearly 10 years, the guy called her by her first name, hugged her at the corridor, said no. She said no. No, no, no. By the time she didn't finish her presentation, the boss said, that's an excellent thing next. She was running home to call Neville Goddard. When Neville Goddard picked up his phone and saw she was the one calling, he said, I know the outcome. How do you know? He said it was good. The woman said it was fantastic. She said, because you created a new boss. You created a new boss with your beliefs, with your minds. There are 8 billion people or 7 billion plus on the face of the earth. No two persons live in the same reality. No two children have the same experience of their parents. No. In my book, Realizing Mental Resilience, I talked a story about 2 brothers who grew up under the same parents. One was just a drunkard in New York subway, and the other one was an executive in an IT firm. Anthony Robbins decided to, as part of his book, Awakening the Giants, decided to interview 2 of them. When he interviewed the one who was a drunkard in New York subway, that one said, look, I grew up in an abusive home where my father beat my mother every night. Look, it was such a terrible scene when my father is coming back home around 11, 12 p.m. drunk. He said, I just ended up like him. He says, he told Anthony Robbins, it's difficult to be otherwise when you grew up in that kind of house. Anthony Robbins shook his head. So Anthony Robbins went to his brother and interviewed the brother. The brother said, if you know the kind of home I grew up, you will know why I'm an executive in an IT firm. The same home, the same description, just like the 2 people who were sent to see if there was a market opportunity for shoes in Africa. But he said to Anthony Robbins, every time as a child I saw my father beat my mother, I knew that my life would never be like this. Now, Viktor Frankl, who was a Holocaust survivor, read his book, In Search of Meaning. He said in his book, In Search of Meaning, he said, there is no situation, no matter how terrible, where you do not have a say. He says, between stimulus and reaction, there is a space. No matter what you say is stimulating you, before you reacted, whether you say it's 2 seconds, 3 seconds, there is a space within which you can decide not to follow the stimulant, within which you can say no. So he said, even when he was incarcerated in Nazi Germany, he said, you will think that, he said, there are people just seeing another human being being thrown into gas burners, they were gone. So there are people who died just seeing it, they collapsed and died. See, there were people who trained, he doesn't know how they did it, but it looks like they trained themselves, that what the Nazi soldiers were doing did not affect them. You see, they continually cheered others. He said in Search for Meaning, he said, there is nothing that can crush the human spirit. I said, if you open up the orifice of the bottle and you get down into your spirit, you are a different person. Say there is nothing. That in the worst of situations, you can choose your attitude. Wow. Irrespective of what is going out there, you can choose your attitude at any given time T. But what we don't know that we are the one choosing the attitudes that we are living in. We don't know that this offense, that we chose it, we are not aware. That what we should have done is change the boundary. change the boundary that caused the offense, expand it. Change the limitation, change the definitions of what should be. I was speaking in a Zoom session like this about over a month ago, and I said, so you defined your happiness. So you said a lady should be married at 30. Now you are 30 and you are sad. But who created the sadness? You. You created the sadness. It was you who said that you ought to be married at 30. I said, I'm not saying that this is the age. No, you defined it. It's you who said that as a graduate, you should have had a car by 25 or 35. So now that you don't have a house, you are sad. Well, an article I wrote recently, I said, the event happened, but the story you are telling about the event did not happen. It is true that you drove from Ikoyi to Victoria Island for 3 hours, but it is not true that the story you told that the government doesn't care about Lagosians, that one was made by you. That story is not true. So the event, we will experience an event, we will tell a story about the event. Now, but one of the things I have found out, sometimes by just simply bringing yourself, I said to them, I am single and I am 30 and I am fine. I said, it doesn't mean that you are saying you'll be single for all of your life. No, I said, because if you bring your experience to what is, the distress of trying, it just fits in. So like this, I'm not stressed. If I twist this, then I'm stressing my fingers. So you are mentally trying to stress your life. You are mentally, no, this is how the way my boss should have, no, how should he have talked to me? If you say it to yourself, you just begin, the reaction is your subconscious. But he has never heard you. You have always obeyed it. So how should he have talked to me? That's the way he should have talked to me. That's the way he should have talked to me. When they brought, when Jesus came to John the Baptist, he said, John the Baptist, he said, John the Baptist baptized. John the Baptist said, it's not possible. He said, suffer it to be so for now. This is how it should be for now. No, there is no reason for me to stress myself. You are to baptize me today. Now, tomorrow I will be baptizing, but today. So it has happened. It has happened. There is nothing, oh, yeah, I wish it happened. No, there's no need to wish. There's no need to wish for another father. It's already your father. There's no need to wish for another. It's already your mother. You are causing a strain. Oh, I have so much to do. This is what, I should really have this much of work to do now. Then the stress goes. You may still not finish all of them. But that stress component, that which reduces your productivity. When the DMD told Uche, he says, look, you have to be resilient. There are times you will go, you start murmuring. You start complaining. That's you are beginning to go on the downward trail already, even if you are the bank CEO. No, accept the responsibility. Expand your mind. This pressure, I can do it. This pressure is fit for me. This pressure, there is nothing uncomely about it. Now, you just sit down, you do the one you can do that day, and you will find that everything will sort out itself. All the other ones are worries and anxieties, which you don't need. Projecting the future in a negative way upon your life. Because the mind doesn't like uncertainty. But I tell people, I say, but we are living in uncertainty every day. The mind won't tell you that you are living in uncertainty. As right now, we don't know what will happen in 2 hours. I remember several years ago when bombs were exploding in Ikeja. We just at home watching TV, then the next thing. Did I know it was going to occur? No. We constantly are living in uncertainty as human beings. But our mind tells us that we are secure. This road is safe. This one is not safe. So this thing is good. This bus is... No. But when you begin to realize that either an experience of happiness or joy, you see, there is a book, Dennis Dittin, Dr. Dennis Dittin, I recommend it. The owner-victim mentality. The ownership spirit, to always see something you can do about your life. If somebody is not doing anything to you, everything. I mean, Rosamond Zander said something. She was saying, keep changing the narrative until she wrote in her book 7 ways to change the narrative until you own what the issue. She said, look, you are at a traffic light. You are waiting for it to change to green. A drunkard slams at you and destroys your SUV. He said, don't start blaming the drunkard. I'll tell you that is hard to take. He said, say to yourself, if I did not come out, they would not have hit me. Continually, he said, you can always recreate any event from a place where you own it, because it's only you that can do things about anything. When it's you that can do something about it, the pain leaves. When you are waiting for somebody to say sorry, what is he saying sorry? If they won't tell you sorry and you still want to talk, go and meet them, say sorry. Tell them sorry. Says, look, who was Paul writing to? Was it to the Corinthians? He said, give honor to who wants honor. Give fear to who wants fear. Give this to who wants this. Because they are all meaningless. I have an article collection. The book should be published. A mini book should be published in the next 2 weeks on Amazon. Meaninglessness. Because we create meanings. I can't tell him I'm sorry. Yeah. That's up to you. That's up to you. So you can't you see, all of life exists in words. I'll tell you that. The rest are just images without life. So Jesus said something. He said, to him that has, more will be given. To him that has not, even the one he thinks he has will be taken. He has something that will be taken. He has something. But he said, now the one that has, he also said, something more often than not, they are in the same situation. But they created meanings. One created a meaning that he doesn't have. So he said he doesn't have. This one said, I have. I was speaking at a youth conference recently, and a young boy asked a question that looked like he was suffering. And I said, the Oba of Lagos 200 years ago is likely the richest man then. He didn't see a phone. I said, now when you did, and he was regarded as the richest man, he was happy. Now, when you don't have iPhone 25 Pro Max, you are sad. The sadness has been created by you. Because somebody who lived 200 years ago, including Jesus, didn't see a phone, didn't see a plane. But now your mind has redefined what happiness should mean to you. Now, if you have so narrowly defined it, expand it, erase some of the ones that are causing you pain. You can do it. And I will tell you, read the 36 chapters in my book, Realizing Mental Resilience. You will expand the scope of the life you are living. You will create a new happy life that is without boundary, free of offense, free to be who you want to be, free to live the life that you want to live. Thank you very much. If there are questions, I will take them now.
Wow. Thank you very much, sir. Thank you. This has been a masterclass. Honestly, wow. So I have my copy of people. I have my copy of the book. I can show you. Yes, I have underlined, I have written and starred in the book, and there I see. You can see writings, and so it's not, it's valid, it's good information. So I will just start the question. One of the questions I want to ask is, I think it was in chapter 24 of the book, where you talked about imprisoned by thoughts. And how people you were talking about that at the point you found out that you had been imprisoned by thoughts. So if someone is in such a situation, can we have like a pathway on how that person can break free from such a thing?
No, the pathway usually, like, it is to go back to what Paul said in the book of Romans, until the law, there was none. If your thought has created what I call a narrow space, the narrowness is too narrow, then just break some of them. Now, I was watching the woman called Byron Katie and was coaching a woman. It's on YouTube. And the woman is now 42. Then she's saying, giving reasons why she doesn't love her mom, what her mom did to her at the age of 6. Look, in about 5 to 10 minutes, she just said, what your mom did to you is what your mom's supposed to have done. Then the conversation continued. I think the woman changed suddenly. She started crying. Live on the stage. 30 years of bitterness. You are just saying now that you came up with that idea. What happened? The mom was coming from work. She raised her hands and ran to her mother. Her mom pushed her to the side. And from that day till 42 years. Now, so is to first reconcile with the past by accepting it. Just accept what is in the past, then the stress leaves. Then you open more possibilities in your life. The prison, if you say they shouldn't talk to you, continually they are talking to you that way at work, then maybe you need to remove the fence. You know all this theater in a cool hotel, the way depending on the size of the hall you want to rent, just move that partition. Take that partition away. Paul continually was taking away. If my limitation is that I'm a Pharisee, I'll take it away. If it's that I'm a Hebrew, if it's that I'm a Roman, if it's that I'm a Jew, these are labels we have given ourselves. So I don't know if I answered your question.
Yes. That accepting the past, that's making peace. A lot of times people are struggling with it.
You're struggling.
People to see that my own point of view was correct, but it has happened.
It's happened. It has happened.
It has happened. So, okay. Then another question, I think it was from, let me just see, chapter 4, where you talked about ego. I like the way you talked about ego. You said ego is self-destruct outside in concept of who we think we are has created a barrier in our unconscious programming. Can you just speak to that, sir? It's a very fascinating discussion.
Now, see, psychology says that personality is formed between the ages of about 4 to 11. Now, you can imagine the kind of prison that we're living in. Sometimes I'm in a human body 55 years, 56 years, but I am living, the thing that is directing my life is a 6-year-old boy. For that woman, is how she saw life at the age of 6. Now, we first come into the world like a blank slate. But to survive in this world, we have to make meanings. We can't stop it. But what the freedom that my book brings is when you find out that I am the one who is saying this is who I am. I am the one who is saying this is how I should be talked to. I am the one who is saying whatever it is. Now, as a child, you just started. Children are like spirits running around in supermarkets and malls. But gradually, they begin to give themselves a label of who they are. Then the way the subconscious works, like those of us who are in IT knows, a computer is different from artificial intelligence in that artificial intelligence is designed such that when you give it an information, it can make deductions for you about the future. It can create its own from it. So it doesn't just stay with that. No, it's not what you stored in it. That's not what so your subconscious is like that. Now, psychology says that 95% of what we do is out of conscious awareness. You just see somebody, a new staff is being introduced to you, or the HR is taking somebody around. Your AI can just tell you whether It's not going to be a good friend. It's going to be a good friend. All of that is nonsense. It's not you. You couldn't have made that conclusion. But the AI is trying to protect you. It has come up with mechanism. It has defined who you are. It is when you are depressed, telling you should be depressed. Don't see the way they talk to you. You should telling you to be depressed the more, then you will practice it more. Then your ego, because your sense of self. But you are just I am. You are a spirit. There is nothing else. You are just I am. The rest are labels. I am Tunde Ikpekurede. I am from here. I am a man. I am this one. This is how they should talk to me. Now, when you have created all of that sense of self, you have built silos. You have built what psychologists call individuation. You are beginning to, rather than a spirit, you are beginning to create yourself by definition. Now, but what you need to do now is, once you begin to see the limits that those things are. There is a book, I think I referred to it. I referenced the book in my own book, The Mind-Made Prison. I also recommend it. Now you begin to when you begin to see your role in this prison that you are living in, of good and bad, they offended me, they didn't offend me. Once you begin to just teach, just the same way the artificial intelligence was, 2-3 incidences, you told your artificial intelligence, stop telling me that shit. How should they have talked to me? I'm going back to him anyway. He's my boss, and I'm going to tell him to sign my leave form. Now, you were trying to avoid him before. Once you challenge the unconscious, it begins to write something new. And it begins to create a new way of behaving for you. 2-3 times. You know the way when your laptop will say, is this a permanent change of password? Yes or no? Then you say yes. Sorry, mistake. You say yes or no. Your unconscious, is this the new you? Should I create meanings like this now that you are? Yes, yes. Create meanings. At the beginning, it will be tough. Suddenly, look like nobody can offend you again. Now, so it's a way. There are different ways in the book how to get out of the trap, the personality your ego has created, and because you're unconscious, its duty is to protect you. But the mechanism with which it protects you was given to it by you. As a child, you failed mathematics, then you told your unconscious that mathematics is hard. Instead of saying that I failed it now, but I will pass it tomorrow, or I failed it today. But not like I said, the events happened. I scored 36, but I don't want to reach the conclusion that mathematics is hard. But I scored 36. It's better to say that. So how did it go? I scored 36. Now, don't tell a story about it. It's not 36. So I'm going to sit harder and do better. Once you tell your unconscious that it is hard, once it sees the mathematics teacher, remember that you don't like the next class. Just remember, all children would have known all subjects. But as soon as this AI is producing a new personality. Psychology says once you are 12, between 12 and 14, it is very hard. Now, that's when you now need mental resilience to begin to rewrite your boundaries, to rewrite who you are, and create a new person. Thank you.
Wow. Thank you, sir. Thank you. This has been an impactful session for me. It's like they say when you read a book, you read a book. But when you talk to the person who wrote the book, then you see the thinking that went into the book. That's the experience for me. Now, I read the book, but now I'm interacting with the thinking that went into writing the book. And this has been such a phenomenal session. Thank you, sir, for taking out time to come and have this conversation with us and basically lay it out. Even I have seen things that on Monday I would apply in my work. On Monday I would apply because like, okay, that's why this happened like this. Okay. And that's the aim of the conversation that we're having today. So it is I'm very grateful that you came, sir. Very, very grateful. So we still have Somebody has won one copy. We had 3 copies of your book. Somebody won 1 copy earlier. So now, if we want to give out the other one, so if you're in the chat box, just a quick question. So when we talked about escaping being imprisoned by thoughts, our speaker spoke about a foundational principle where you should start from if you're going to escape that prison. Can you tell me what it is? He just said it's like what, 10 minutes ago? Anybody? Going once? Going twice? Okay, was that one too hard? Is it jam question? This is, it sounds like type K. Okay, so the other question I would ask is the reality we face and the things we go about. Our speaker spoke about the buildings are everything. The buildings, they don't have life. They're just life left. But what you experience is as a result of a particular concept, 2 words, which is what we do every day in our lives. So something happens to you. So what is that? He spoke about it repeatedly. It's what defines our reality. Anybody? Fantastic. Fantastic. You got the answer right now, sir. Okay,
Yes.
so Adebi, congratulations.
Congratulations.
You have 1 copy, autographed copy. Let me tell you now, it's not autographed copy for you of this book. So I will just quickly send you a message of my number. So you just send me a WhatsApp message so that. So please just send me a WhatsApp message at Debbie. If you can send it now, I appreciate so I can day more. Okay, so that's 2. Faith got the first one. Faith Azeta got the first one. Now we have Adebi who has got the second one. And this 3rd one is a bonus question. Bonus question. Are we ready? What is the theme of this session of the conference? Fastest finger at this point now. Fastest finger. Bonus. This one is bonus question. Bonus question. So what is the theme conference? This particular session. What is the theme? Going once. Going twice. Okay. That's a part of the team. I will give you an opportunity to state the complete team. You have like 5 seconds to do it. 5, 4, 3, 2, 2.5. 1. Okay, so I have another person who has, let me see. I think somebody placed everyone in the meeting. Let me see, what's that? No, that is not the complete team, sir. Somebody placed it. I saw a comment.
Mental resilience into this one. Jeremiah Egbe is still the one typing, I think.
No, I think that it's, oh, this is enough. Enough for Emorua. So, sir, this one now is VAR. VAR. So who should we give it to? Jeremiah or Enoch?
You can give two of them. I'll provide an extra copy.
Oh, wow. Okay. Okay, so Jeremiah, you have the copy, and our speaker has decided to provide a copy for Enoch Mora. So that is all we have. Let me just send them a message so that they can send me WhatsApp message. So you have the message from me. Please acknowledge receipt. And Jeremiah, you have a copy for a message from me now. Please acknowledge receipt. So that's it. That's good. So for every other person, I would just share the book. It is a very powerful book. I would just a moment. So you can, it's available on Amazon.
I want to put a link on a question, just some short 20 questions. This time last week, I was speaking in a Bible school, online Bible school student, and just by the way to remember what you've learned. So I came up with about 20 questions, and I gave A or B, true or false, that just helps you in the way to retain what you have learned. So I'll just put the link there, the Google form, and let me see. Okay, so if you click that link, you'll be taken to a Google form to answer 20 questions on what I have talked about this evening. And just refreshing them, it gives you opportunity to reason, and it brings a lot of remembrance of what you have heard tonight. Thank you very much.
Okay, I'm just posting the link to YouTube.
Okay.
Just so people can also access it there. Okay. So thank you very much. Thank you very much, sir. I said I was going to share this. So this is his book. You can get the book. It is available on Amazon. So you can order the book, and I can assure you, like I wrote, you can see I was quoting chapters like I was reading Bible. I was saying chapter this. It's like you have to go through it. So it's a very powerful resource. I can tell you that. And it is written in everyday English. You know, there are some things that are in depth and you have to know. No, this one is everyday English. Simple, you can relate to the concepts in it. It thinks in everyday life, making meaning, separate realities, marriage, in parenting. So I really would want you to get the book. It's on Amazon, and you can place the order and get the book. There's print version, and also there's an ebook version. So do well to get the book. Remember what we said at the starting, mental toughness is needed. And even because of the funny things that are happening in our environment today, you need it for sanity to be able to withstand those things, and it's important. So thank you once again, sir, for this session. Thank you for taking out time to come and have this session with us and to teach us and to have this conversation. Thank you, everyone who found a way to join any of the sessions. Thank you for the people who joined from morning, the 9 a.m. session, the 12, the 3, and now people have joined. Thank you for joining this session. This is the maiden edition of the Pick Yourself Conference. We will have another conference by God's grace by this same date next year, and we will continue that for as long into decades, 70, 80 years from now, we'll continue that. and we'll expand on it, and definitely it'll be an amazing time. So thank you once again for spending time with me this evening. I wish you the best. The recordings will be on YouTube on my channel, Uche Nkutet. So it's there, it was streamed live. It will remain there so you can go back, play back over and over again and interact with these things and equip yourself for the world out there. So thank you once again. Thank you, sir, and have a great day, everybody. I'll just stop sharing. Thank you. Thank you. Please remember to send me the message on WhatsApp, Adebi and Adebi Jeremiah and No4. Please remember to send me the message, please. I will be expecting it. Please send me a message, please. Thank you. Thank you for joining. Let me just see people who are in the chat box. We have Adebi, we have Ben, we have Faith. Faith, remember to send me a WhatsApp message, please. Don't forget. We have Gold, we have Oluwabumi, we have Philip, we have Smith, we have Thomas. So just remember to go, you can interact with it. Okay, let me send you, Faith, I would send you my number again now. It's important you send me that message. Jeremiah, I think I sent it to you, Jeremiah. Then Faith. I just sent it to you again, Faith. Can you please save it and send me a message? Adebi, please confirm that you got it. You got my number and you've sent me a WhatsApp message so that we can arrange for delivery. Thank you, everyone. Thank you to the production team, Dr. Gold, Philip. Thank you for staying up late in the night, putting in finishing touches in the designs, the production, the concept. Really appreciate you. Appreciate all our speakers for the time there. Thank you. So Faith, can you confirm you have that? I'm waiting for that before I end the meeting. Okay, so thank you, everybody. Have a great day and good night.